So, something really incredible happened a couple mornings back, and I wanted to share this insight with everybody to really stress this point how all emotions must be felt. They must be felt. They're here for a reason. They're a gift. God gave them to us as guidance, as a gift, and they're here for a reason, and they must be felt out in order to process and move on. The other day, I was watching my niece and nephew, and before going to bed, my niece said, "Oh, I don't really want to go to school tomorrow. I'm not feeling good." So I said, "That's okay. We'll see how you feel in the morning. Don't worry about that now. We're going to sleep and you'll see how you feel in the morning. If you don't feel up to it, don't have to go." And then she went to bed. And she woke up in the morning and she was fine. And then as we were getting ready for school, I could tell that she was getting anxious. She was getting really anxious. And she said, "I don't want to go to school." And I can tell, she was trying not to cry, trying to stay strong. Um, and I, from my perspective, I had a doctor's appointment I had to get to, and I was running late. I had so many things that I still wanted to do before going to this doctor's appointment, and I didn't really have time for a child who doesn't want to go to school. And she started crying, and I said, "It's okay, don't worry, I'll pick you up after school, and we're gonna have the best day, and we'll go to the park," and trying to like, and and then I caught myself, and like I was like, "Schiffer, what are you doing? Like, she's afraid and she's anxious. Like, hear her out." And like I took a breath, and note here that I could have gone down that route of like, "I'll take you for ice cream, I'll buy you a doll, like we'll have a good time, and your teacher's so nice," and I could have done all of that, and I would have probably still been there now doing that. Or I took this breath and I sat down and I said, "I know you're afraid of school, right? You don't want to go." And she just burst out crying. She burst out crying and she's like, "I don't want to go. I don't want to go to school." And she was like getting to that, hyperventilating, anxious cry. And I said, I know. Why don't you want to go?" And she said, "I just don't like it, and I'm digging. I'm like, "I know, okay. I also didn't like school. Why don't you like it?" And she said, in her words, "The teacher makes me do hard things." And even then I could have said, "Oh, if the teacher makes you do it, then tell you don't want to do it, or I'll call the teacher." We don't want to see kids hurting and kids suffering. And so we want to just help them in our way that we think is helpful. But all she needed was me to hear her. And I said, "You know what? I also didn't like school. When I was a kid, the teacher also made me do really hard things, and I really didn't like it." And she said, "Yeah, she does. She really makes me do hard things." And I said, "And you know what? Even if she makes you do hard things, you're okay. It's okay. Don't have to worry. It's okay. It's okay to feel like you can't do hard things." And as I'm talking to her and listening to her, she's calm. She's calm. And this, no exaggeration, this whole thing took under 5 minutes. Obviously, I can't say and guarantee that this would be, under 5 minutes in every circumstance. But in this situation, it was under 5 minutes. Like, I sat down with her on the floor and I told her, "I'm here for you and I want to hear why you don't want to go to school. And if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. I'm here and I love you and you're okay." Just so much positive love and affirming that she's okay, that she is okay. Even if you can't do the hard things, you don't want to do the hard things, the teacher makes you do the hard things, like, you're okay. No one can make you feel that you're not okay. That was my point I was trying to tell her. And but I couldn't say that. I had to first listen to her and ask her. I was trying to dig and pinpoint why she didn't want to go to school. And then when she told me the teacher makes me do hard things, and she just fully cried. And that like, I had to calm her down, that cry that you can't really catch your breath. I'm I'm getting triggered. No, I'm kidding. And so I calmed her down. And then I said, "Even if you feel like you can't do hard things, you're okay." And she's like, "Okay." And she just stopped crying. She finished getting dressed, and then she said to me, "Can you pick me up from school today and make sure you come early, and you'll wait right behind the bus?" Like, she gave me like really strict instructions, and I looked at her straight in the eye and I said, "I promise you I will be there. I'm going to be there before you even finish school." She wanted me to come straight from my doctor's appointment, and I said, "I'm going to come straight from my doctor's appointment." And And then she was fine. She went, she had breakfast, and she just went skipping to school. And it was such a powerful moment for me because I deal a lot with kids and I love working with kids, but never so much in this capacity. Kids are, they're always having a fairly good time when they're coming to after school programs. But this was a genuine moment where I had the awareness to see that I didn't have time for her this. Like, I didn't have time for her to hear her. And that was what she needed. She just needed to be heard. And B, I had this awareness that she didn't need, we don't need, and in this a lesson for ourselves too, we try and make things better for them. And for kids especially, we don't want them to be in pain. And so we cover it up right away. Like, oh, I don't want to go to school. Oh, don't worry, go to school and I'll buy you ice cream, or I'll buy you $1, or I'll take you to the park, or you're going to be amazing. It's going to be good. And it's like, that's not what the kid cares about. That's not what they need. That's not what the emotion needs. She needed to be heard. It needed to be felt. It needed to be processed with the crying. She had to let it out. And then she was able to move on. And then from that point, if you still need to, we'll have a great afternoon when I pick you up. We'll go to the park and we'll sing songs and we'll play and whatever it is, right? If you have to do that from that point for something for her to look forward to, that's when you do it. But she needed to be heard. Her emotions, her feelings had to be heard. And that's really what I want to stress. And then I want to translate this over into our adult life and emotions and feelings as an adult. Our emotions and feelings, like I said, they're guidance. Not only are they guidance, they're a gift from God. Like, they are a gift from God to tell us when we're on track, when we're not on track, when something's right, when something's wrong. They're guidance. Yes, some emotions are really, really hard and challenging to feel, but they're still a gift and they're still guidance, right? Imagine you didn't feel the fire when you put your hand on the stove, you'd burn your hand, right? So that pain is there to like warn you, like, oh, hey, this isn't a good idea, right? So the same with our emotions. Like, you can be feeling unease, anxiety, fear, and it's uncomfortable, but it's guidance. Hence with it being guidance, it ends up being a gift, right? And as adults, there's so many things going on, so many things we have to take care of. And sometimes we don't allow ourselves to process our emotions and we cover it up. And the only way over it is through it. We have to go through it. We have to feel it to heal it. And I want to stress this point as well, that sometimes we're not feeling anything. And that's fine too. And sometimes we may not feel any emotion. We might not feel anything at all. And that's fine too. Our mind might make us feel and tell us that we're supposed to be feeling a certain way and we should feel a certain way, and you're just not. And that can cause some uncertainty and discomfort as well. But it's also fine to not feel anything. And I wanted to make this video now in light of what's going on. There's there's a lot of darkness, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of tragedy. And Hashem should help us all and send so much love and blessings to everyone, the entire Jewish nation. And we sometimes don't want to face it, and we don't want to know what's going on. It's too much. And I want to bring this down to a smaller level as well and make it a little bit more relatable in regards to emotions and feelings and darkness. There's a lot of darkness and fear out there. And, the Chayalim, they have to face it. They're like, this is a war that they're fighting. People in Israel, this is something they have to face. It's not something they can just turn a blind eye to because it's right there standing in front of them. And message for us, though, is what darkness are we not looking at in your own life, in your own personal life? Because the only way to the light is through the dark. Like, through the dark, through it, you can overcome it and get over it and process it and let it go. And it's really like a big message and something to meditate on. What darkness are you avoiding in your life? What thoughts, what memories, what parts of your shadow do you not want to be looking at that you know you probably should, because once you do, you can release it, let it go, and move on lighter, happier, and better. And this brings me to emotions and feelings that sometimes some emotions and feelings are just excruciating and we don't want to go there. And so obviously you can build and get to it slowly. You don't have to like jump right in. But at the same time, have the understanding and the awareness that through feeling things, you can heal it and you can process it and you can move on. Otherwise, it's just getting buried underneath. It's like a band-aid, like being on medication for all those years. It's just a band-aid. It's just covering over and it's not healing anything. And, you know, after 16 years, you come off your medication or you go and uncover what it is that you've been hiding, and you've just got this pile. And the only way to get rid of it is to go through it. And so I think this is a time now we can really reflect into our own lives. Yes, we can't go and fight this war physically. No, we can't do that. Or you can if you're in a position to do that and you feel that's a calling, then you go and do that. But, you know, from here, from Toronto, what can I do to fight this war? And that's face my darkness, face things about myself, face things that I have been willing to go down, face shadow sides of me, face some really challenging, dark, doesn't even have to be so dark, just challenging, dark things that you've been avoiding, that you're just kind of covering up. I can go there. That's how I can fight this. I can go there. I can go through this darkness. I can go and feel things that aren't necessarily comfortable to feel, but I can feel it to release it, to heal it. And then I'm a better person for it. And I show up to the world more authentically with less baggage, less stories, and living more of my truth. And when each individual person can do that, can you imagine a world we're living in where everybody is just living their truth? No stories, no baggage, no traumas, totally in alignment. That makes a huge, huge impact. And you know this by the fact that there's some people that you meet and you're just like, they have a good energy about them. And there's some people that you meet and you're like, that was draining and I don't really ever want to hang out with them again. And that's partially because people that are living in their truth with faith and trust and going about their day that way, it's attractive and people want to be around those kind of people because it's easy and it's light and it's fun and it brings out a side of you that's authentic, that your soul really wants to be connected to, and it wants more of that. So it just wants to be around people that are like that because that's how you're connecting. And so in times like this, when there is so much darkness and tragedy, it's a time to go inwards. Yes, it's time to go outwards and help, and absolutely. But let's not forget, it's also a time to go inwards and ask yourself, what darkness have I not been willing to face up until now? And when you can shed some light in the darkness, that's an incredible, incredible step. Sending so much love.